Russia's war on Ukraine is personal for Bruce and Elena Talley.
My wife is Russian, and this Russia's unprovoked aggression in Ukraine has disturbed us greatly.
But Elena still has family in Russia. She says they're harassed because they're against the war.
If you talk with people, people call you traitor.
Then Elena's brother Sergei Sviderskii got drafted by the Russian army. She translated his words to us during a Zoom call.
He said, absolutely, that was my decision from the day one. That's scary because Russia, I know that they will put me in prison. Go to Ukraine never was a choice.
So he packed a small bag, kissed his mother goodbye, and left the only home he's ever known, planning to stay with his sister in America.
Yes, it's stressful, and I never thought I will be in a situation like this. I never thought I will leave and I will be escaping. And he said, but still between choices, prison and Ukraine, I would choose prison.
The journey would be perilous. Just to get to the Russian border took days.
I saw 20-year-old guys who are crossing the borders. They don't have support and they have white faces from stress and shock. They're just trying to escape.
Eventually, he met up with his brother-in-law, Bruce, in Mexico City. Their plan? To go to Tijuana to cross the border into the U.S. Sergei was very nervous.
He really wants to get political asylum in the United States because if he doesn't get political asylum, he's in big trouble. He doesn't have a future in Russia.
Bruce recorded their journey on his cell phone.
I'm here with my brother-in-law, Sergei Sviderskii, and we're at the border crossing between Tijuana and San Diego at San Ysidro. In just a few minutes, we're going to be at the border, and Sergei is going to apply for political asylum.
But he says they were stopped by the U.S. Border Patrol before they could even reach the border.
They immediately put a traffic cone in front of the car, and the Border Patrol officer came over and asked for our documents. I handed our passports over.
He says they explained their situation to a supervisor.
He told me that it was impossible to apply at the border for political asylum. And this was a surprise to me.
Their experience is not a surprise to immigration attorney Lola Saharova, who specializes in civil rights and Russian immigration cases. She says she never advises clients to present themselves at the southern border to seek asylum because of Title 42, a Trump-era rule that prevents people from seeking asylum at the southern border.
It can be dangerous, right? We don't know. When people arrive to Mexico, we don't know what's happening there in Mexico. You hear the stories of cartels controlling access to the border. People sometimes have to pay money to a coyote to be taken to the border. So it's kind of a last resort, but the situation is so dire that people choose to present themselves at the border despite all the dangers, which I think speaks for how desperate they are.
She says people like Sergei are between a rock and a hard place.
They're not accepted in Russia for their anti-war stance. They're not accepted outside Russia because they're Russian citizens, right? And so it's really hard. It's really hard for them to find a place that would be welcoming.
Title 42 is set to be repealed on December 21st. But Sergei has already left Tijuana because of a call from his mother saying she was having stroke symptoms.
So this really upset Sergei. He said, I'm killing my mother. I've come here, spent all my money. I've been treated just the way I would be treated by Russia against my better judgment. He decided he was going to leave.
Sergei can't go back to Russia, though.
The arrest warrant has been issued against him. We're in a very, very difficult situation.
He's now in Central Asia. More than a month has gone by, and the Tallies are now worried about Sergei and his mental state.
He's depressed, he's upset, he doesn't know what to do next.
She says when she speaks with her brother now, he talks about maybe going back to Russia, even if it means arrest. but she fears it could mean he'll end up on the front lines of a war they don't believe in.
It's horrifying when I'm thinking that he still can be in the war. He still can be in the danger just because nobody would give him a chance.
Now she just wants someone to help put the pieces of her family back together.
And if someone could give this chance, I would, yes, ask, please help us.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.